Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, councillors, members of the public who are watching this by webcast. I am proud as an Hoober councillor in the work we have carried out during the last 12 months in supporting residents and the infrastructure in our ward. We have covered many projects this year and have spent all our capital and our revenue to ensure we get best value for the residents of the Hoober ward. And my colleagues will go into a lot more detail on further slides on work we have covered. I want to also thank at this point officers for their support they have gave us over the last 12 months in making sure that we could deliver our priorities on behalf of our residents, which I am proud to represent.
Tackling social isolation amongst the elderly is a key objective of all three ward councillors. To enable us to do this, we've worked with communities and the neighbourhood team to reach out to as many groups as possible. We've worked with To Name But a Few, Harley Mission Rooms, Wentworth Residents Association and various groups at Cortonwood Comeback Community Centre. Last year, just before COVID, we was fortunate enough to host our first volunteer celebration event, bringing a diverse and rich community groups together to celebrate their achievements, from litter pickers to men in sheds to youth groups and, of course, the senior citizens group. The bowling club, it was especially marvellous to see them, probably one of the longest organisations that's been happening in and around the area. Hopefully we can get back to much more of the same next year. The food bank at the community centre opened as a direct result of COVID and the national lockdown. As a trustee of the community centre, the need for our services has never been greater. With the help and support of the neighbourhoods team, Rotherham Community Hub, Fair Share and of course my two ward colleagues, we've been able to deliver food parcels weekly and monthly as and when people need them. This is an essential key service and we couldn't have done it without all the help and support of the community as well.
Covering small hamlets, large villages and built-up areas. Its housing and population is also diverse with both young and old. We, as ward councillors, are totally committed to helping to provide more facilities and activities for our young people. This has included supporting local junior football teams in Harley and Brampton, improvements to park facilities, youth club work, cultural, drama and craft activities in centres such as Cortonwood Comeback Centre, for example the Scarecrow Festival, support to local schools, summer holiday activities. Some of these activities we will be illustrating over the next few slides.
West Melton Park. This park was run down and had not had any investment in it for years. It had just a couple of swings and a slide within it, and a tarmacked area which looked shabby. We decided to contact the housing department, whose land it was, and to work with both housing, green spaces and other departments to improve the park. After pulling together a project, we were able to put in a multi-purpose play area which includes football nets, basketball and other facilities. We also put in exercise equipment around the park, benches and tables so parents could watch their children safely as they played in this area. Furthermore, we planted trees to improve the environment of the park. I am pleased to say that this has been a massive success and is a park which has been well used over the last 12 months, as it is an outdoor space where people can meet.
It was touch and go whether this year's annual summer activities would go ahead, but fortunately a brief respite between lockdowns enabled us to carry out this activity. Young people from the area came along and took part in some marvellous outdoor activities, of course all undertaken in a COVID-safe manner and everybody sticking to their bubbles. Hopefully, once again, we'll get back to more of the same this summer as lockdowns lift and life becomes more normal.
Isolation and loneliness affects a large number of people and potentially could impact on mental health. We felt that we should do what we could to help tackle these issues. As part of this, it was clear from local social media that many young people were upset about missing Halloween. So ward councillors, working with the Comeback Centre, decided to put on a COVID-safe event. Much work was done in advance to ask people to build scarecrows in their front gardens and to create an online scarecrow trail rather than children knocking on doors for trick-or-treat. And finally using book slots at an outdoor scary Halloween event organised by a local youth drama group. Great effort was put into ensuring social distancing, wearing of face masks and to ensure COVID safety. Indeed, the local police were very satisfied with our arrangements. On the following days, we received a great number of positive messages on the event, including social media comments. Well worth doing.
We managed to give the community a truly magical Christmas experience, complete with Winter Wonderland, Santa's Grotto, and of course the 3 ward councillors as Father Christmas and the Elf, working together with the neighbourhoods team, Tin Pot Theatre and Cornwall Comeback Community Centre. Children and families had a magical COVID-safe Christmas experience.
Building a community infrastructure. This has been difficult over the last 12 months, but we have tried to consult with as many people as possible, including parish councils, Wentworth, Brampton, Cottonwood Community Centre, Arley Mission Hall, Tara at Manor Farm, and also local allotment societies to improve facilities across the ward. Working with these groups so that we could invest in projects what they were interested in, and they could also match fund some of these projects. Again, as you can see through the slides, what's been presented here today, what successes we've had in these areas by working with communities and building an infrastructure which will continue to strengthen and make sure that our priorities and their priorities are met across the Hoober ward.
Many communities have looked to find effective use of redundant telephone kiosks. Working with local community organisations in Hoober, we have so far funded 2 defibrillators in older telephone boxes, a further one on an external wall of a pub, and another one on the external wall of a primary school near a local playing field. They have been much appreciated by the local community. Indeed, last week I received an email saying that the one in the village of Street had just been used successfully to save someone's life, so it was well worthwhile. I ought to point out that the photo on the right was taken after our last presentation to the council, but before COVID restrictions.
West Melton Christmas tree. This has been a success. This year's Christmas tree was put up. Unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, we were not able to have a carol service like we had the previous year and the mayor there to switch on the lights. But I can say we put a bit of spirit back in the area by putting the Christmas tree up. People really appreciated this, and I know that all 3 councillors have comments about the Christmas tree, and we will continue to support this year on year now. Brampton Volunteer Gardeners, a project that we sponsored this year to ensure that Brampton looked a brighter place. We provided plant pot holders, plants, for a small group of residents to brighten their village up in both Brampton and West Melton area.
Anyone who knows me knows that my philosophy in life is team. Together everyone achieves more. Never was this more important when trying to get our public footpath reinstated. The path had been closed off, separating two communities and stopping school children an easy access to get to school. Together with the People for the Parish, a local community group set up to challenge the parish council to open the path back up, we worked with ward councillors, the neighbourhood team, parish council and the rights of way officer to get the footpath put back in and the fencing removed. Thankfully today we can now access the field and children can make their way safely once again to school.
The projects we have highlighted in the previous slides are just a small sample of the work we've been able to do in Hoober using our community grant funding. Others have included a number of projects supporting the reopening of Harley Mission Hall, including providing equipment and access to parking, such as a drop curb. We've supported with equipment our local litter picking group. We've supported a number of flower and plant projects, such as Harley and Bloom, which we give funding to every year, and Brompton Volunteer Gardeners. We've also supported local football teams.